Hi, this is The Greatest Story Ever Played. I'm Dan.
I'm Jordan.
And today we're going to talk about Life is Strange Before the Storm. It's finale, Hell is Empty, third episode. And before we get into that, just a catch-all warning at the beginning. This is spoiler-filled for the original game as well as Before the Storm. So if you haven't played all these episodes, I would play them and come back, because we'll probably hit some major plot points that are important. So, and I don't want to ruin those games for you because they're awesome in their own right. So just a heads up to start off.
Cool. Yep. So the description of this episode is: Life is Strange Before the Storm races towards a dramatic conclusion as Rachel learns the truth about her family and needs Chloe's support more than ever. Meanwhile, Chloe begins to uncover a dangerous revelation which will require her to find the courage and strength to make some of the toughest decisions of her life.
Okay, so the episode opens up at the Amber's house where we ended the last episode. After the last episode ended with Rachel finding out or confronting her dad for kissing that woman and breaking a table and stuff like that. And so then Mr. Amber tells us the real story of what goes on. And he tells us about Sarah, Rachel's birth mom, her real mom, that she was a drug addict, and you hear their basically like courting story, almost like looking through the view glass and kind of seeing little points in time.
Yep.
Ultimately, Sarah ended up being a drug addict, and so James pays money to Sarah to keep her away from Rachel and him, to just be gone. And Sarah's gone along with that. Rachel, of course, is devastated to find out that the mom I thought was my mom isn't.
Yep.
And that I had this other mom that didn't want me, and you gave her money to keep her away.
Yep.
Understandable.
Yep.
So Rachel is in her room, and she's super sad. She's laying on her bed. Chloe ends up going up there to try to comfort her, and kind of looks around Rachel's room, and we kind of learn about different things Rachel likes, like the stars and globes and I don't know, all that stuff. Then Chloe ends up using this flashlight and this star thing, like a star flashlight thing almost.
Yeah.
She makes like a star flashlight essentially though, and makes her room, turns off the light, and her room looks like the skyline at night.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, which is really cool and like really nice. Like definitely a good moment between Chloe and Rachel here. Like see them being intimate and like knowing, I don't know, Chloe being really supportive and being there for Rachel. That gets through to Rachel, and Rachel could talk about what's really going on.
Yep.
It's a good moment. Maybe actually the best moment in this episode.
Yeah, probably.
I would maybe argue.
It's the most heartfelt.
Yeah, it was nice. And in this, Chloe commits to Rachel that I'm going to find Sarah. I can figure this out for you, like, because James wants Rachel not to see her.
Yeah.
So Chloe says, I'll figure it out. I saw her with Frank. I'll go to Frank and I'll get it figured out. We'll meet in the junkyard. So, cool. Good. Got a plan. Rachel's feeling a little more hopeful. Chloe got to be really supportive. It's nice. At the junkyard, we have a little while where Chloe repairs her truck. And this is fun. This is nice. Just kind of, again, adding more to the truck and the truck's lore.
The lore. Especially before the rest of the episode commences.
Yes. Yeah. So that's cool. And then Rachel shows up and they talk some. That's nice. Then Frank shows up early. And Damon.
Yeah, which immediately was like, all right, this is bad.
Right. This is bad news. And confrontation goes down. Where's Damon's money that Chloe was supposed to steal from Drew? It's tense. Rachel ends up hitting Damon with like a 2x4.
Yeah.
Which was a bad move.
For sure.
Then Damon stabs her in the arm. And it's like bleeding fast. Like seems like it must have got near an artery or something. Like it wasn't just like, I don't know, a stab. Yeah. It seemed bad.
Yep. It was a big knife too.
Yeah, big knife, yeah.
That's a really big knife.
Yeah, it was like one of those commando knives or something.
Yeah,
it looked like.
A Bowie knife or something.
Yeah. So Rachel's bleeding a whole bunch. Chloe like grabs her and takes her to the truck, and Frank holds off Damon and like tries to fight him off because Damon's gonna kill them.
Yeah.
For sure.
Dude's crazy, for sure.
Yeah, insane. Damon was mad before, but when Rachel hit him with the 2x4, game over.
Yep.
But Frank shows some good stuff again. He tries to hold him off, and Chloe's able to drive them away and escape. So
go Frank.
Yeah, go Frank. And good job, Chloe, getting him out of there. They make it to the hospital. Mr. Amber's trying to figure out what had happened. He tells Chloe that if she hadn't got Rachel there when she did, Rachel could have died.
Yeah.
So heads up by Chloe, getting him to the hospital in time. That was cool. And that he would even say something like that, because Mr. Amber's a little either way.
Yeah, and doesn't really like Chloe.
Yeah, he doesn't like Chloe, but he was still like, thank you.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And asking questions about Damon and what the deal was. Here you kind of think Mr. Amber might be redeemed.
Yeah, like he's actually going to do something good.
Yeah.
About the situation. And
right, he cares about Rachel, actually, and he could recognize your role in caring about Rachel. Like all right, maybe this will go all right.
Mm-hmm.
So we have that. Also, Drew's at the hospital, obviously, from getting beat up by Damon also.
Yep.
So we stopped by there and talked to him and Mikey and Steph for a second. We regrettably didn't play D&D with them. We fucked up, so we'll have to do that some other time.
Yeah. That first sequence of it was really fun.
Yeah.
Really funny.
Yeah, it was great. We then go talk to Rachel. Rachel tells us that we should break into her dad's office at their house to be able to find Sarah. Basically, I'm stabbed and I can't go on this journey to find my mom, but you should keep going. And we're like, all right, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're leaving, and we have a weird interaction with Elliot.
Yeah, real weird.
He was super bizarre, kind of being like, Rachel's a bad girl, and like, you're not, and so you shouldn't run with her, but you should like be with like a nice guy like me.
Yeah, and he didn't really give any reasons for why Rachel was bad. He's more just like, well, she's not me, so she's bad.
Yeah.
All right, dude.
Yeah.
Fucking creeper.
Yeah, total creeper. Real weird. The only redeeming thing was that he had a Hot Dog Man balloon. That was cool.
Yep.
Or figure, I forget. But it was Hot Dog Man, which was cool.
I think it was a little figurine.
Yeah, yeah.
Holding a balloon.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it was. That was cool on Elliot. But that's the only cool part about Elliot.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of it was weird and like really needy when like Chloe's not your girlfriend or anything like that.
Yeah.
You know,
they're like acquaintances.
Yeah.
Kind of talk.
Yeah, and like maybe have gone on dates before, it seemed like, but
maybe, yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
But then he's just like, seems weird.
Yep.
So that wasn't great. Weirdo. Chloe, though, breaks into Mr. Amber's office, and she finds out that Mr. Amber hired Damon to kidnap Sarah.
Yep. Pretty messed up.
Yeah. So now Mr. Amber is back to being bad and maybe even worse.
Yep.
Probably much worse. That sucks. And so there's this back and forth where Chloe's texting Damon, where Damon thinks it's Mr. Amber. And she destroys some evidence of a crime that Damon committed. Then Damon says, who's the snitch? And you're given the option of 3 people. I think one is the guy who was selling t-shirts at the concert. One was the bouncer guy.
Who I kind of liked.
Yeah, who I thought was cool. And then one was the skeevy guy that tried to fight us.
Yep.
So, of course, we said it was the skeevy guy.
Absolutely.
Fuck him.
Yep.
And then, when we're getting ready to leave, Elliot shows up. If before his creeper status was like a 7, he's at a 10 now.
He's like he's at a 12 at this point.
Yeah, he's broken the scale.
He like followed us there and then like cornered us.
Right. And it's definitely like becoming unhinged as we talk to him.
Yeah, and like physically violent.
Yeah. Becoming physically violent. He's like unhinged. He's like, you're supposed to be with me, and like things like that. Like total delusional creeper stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Not good. Not good at all. We ultimately trick him. We have our like the cell phone on behind us, and we go through like a sequence where we're like, I'm stuck against my will. I'm at the Amber household. You know, these different little things like that. And then the police show up, and we run away with the cash to go pay Damon off and meet Sarah.
And he's there by himself and looking like he just broke into the house.
Yeah. So
which is great.
That was good. I wish we could have like punched him at least. But
yeah, or kicked him in the nutsack or something.
Yeah, that would have been good. Kick him in the balls.
Chloe move right there for sure.
Yeah, the Chloe move would. You know, I wonder if she'd even like, you know, fake something positive towards him, kick in the nuts and leave.
Yeah,
that'd have been awesome.
Oh yeah,
that'd have been.
Yeah, he sucks.
Yeah, he sucks. So screw you, Elliot. We get to the old mill, and Chloe tries to get Damon to free Sarah. He brings the money and says, don't hurt her. Damon, meanwhile, has Sarah like tied up to a chair and is going to inject her with heroin.
Yeah, really fucked up.
Either to get her to be a drug addict again, or he's trying to OD her. I'm not 100% which it was.
Yeah, I think either way, she'd been clean for a year.
Right.
So I think it was...
I guess it would still really fuck her up even if it didn't kill her.
Yeah. I think at the very least it was to fuck with her, and then maybe he's going to kill her.
Yeah.
Or use it to kill her. Either way, he was going to try to kill her.
Right. So this is bad. Damon, of course, isn't having it. He's like, nope, I basically want everything. I want the money. I'm going to kill her because I want to.
Yep.
Maybe I'll kill you. We try to fight him and are kicked in the head and pass out pretty quick.
Yep.
But Frank shows up as we're like passing
Frank.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, wounded Frank. He's got like a stab in his upper chest.
Yeah.
And Damon's like, oh, you want me to finish this? And Frank's like, you can't do this, basically. I'm going to fight you.
Yeah.
And we're like, all right, good job, Frank. I like you. And they fight for a bit. And we wake up. And Sarah is just sitting at the table, not tied up. And it's weird. It almost seems like it's a dream.
I thought it was a dream for sure.
Yeah, because it was bizarre. We're like, where's Frank? And she's like, he took care of Damon. It's fine. We're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like,
that was a quick response, or...
Yeah.
Or not a quick response, but like a quick summary of what happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was strange for it seeming like a dream. Like, were we actually passed out that long? Because it felt like we were a lot, and that's why it felt like a dream. Like, okay, you're just smoking a cigarette at the table. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was strange. We try to get her to come and see Rachel. Try to tell her different things, like I lost my dad, blah, blah, blah. We ultimately give her Rachel's bracelet, but she still leaves. Mm-hmm. And so that's a bummer. And we're going to head back to the hospital to see Rachel. There's a final journal entry, though, as this is near the end of the game, that sums up all the feels. So
yep.
Chloe says this, and now I have to decide what to tell Rachel. What would you do, Max? You can't answer, I know. You don't exist. You're a lie that I've used to avoid reality, to keep living in the past, and maybe that's okay. But I don't think I want to live in the past anymore. I want to live in the present with Rachel, no matter what happens next. Goodbye, Max. Chloe. I'm just like, no!
Yeah, so sad.
So sad. But I guess also I'm glad that you can move forward. Mm-hmm. And, I don't know, be friends with Rachel for a few years. But it's still really sad.
Yeah, the whole thing sucks.
You get to see when she gives up on Max.
Yeah, it took a while.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Sad.
Yeah. Sorry.
Then we go to the hospital, and we talk to Rachel, and she asks us what happened.
Yeah, so at this point, as we were talking to Sarah, she basically tried to convince us not to tell Rachel what Mr. Amber was trying to do, as in hire Damon to basically kill Sarah. I think that was his goal all along. So we're like, well, we have to tell Rachel. Her dad sucks. Like, this is really fucked up. You're still alive. She needs to meet you. But Sarah's like, no, don't tell her anything about this. She has to, like, keep her dad as her dad in her head, like, as her hero, whatever.
Right.
So we have to choose to lie to her or tell the truth. So we ended up not telling her about any of this. We're just like, yeah, we couldn't find Sarah. Sorry.
Right.
And then we were actually in the higher percentage of 51% of people that chose to hide the truth. So 49% ended up telling Rachel what happened. Which, this makes sense to me, this kind of ratio, because it was such a hard decision.
Right.
Like, I was 50-50. So I just think I went with what Sarah went with, because it kind of... I guess I could see it doing more harm than good. Because I think Mr. Amber's intentions were, as messed up as he is, okay. Like, trying to keep Rachel protected. Like, I could see that.
Yeah.
So, I didn't really see much good coming from her, telling her. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that, like, the first part of Mr. Amber, like, paying Sarah to stay away, I don't think that's bad, and I don't know that if that's all it was, if I would tell Rachel about that. Well, maybe Rachel knew, I don't remember. But because he, like, tried to pay someone to maybe kill her?
It's pretty bad.
That's pretty bad, and
yeah.
I don't know if you should think that kind of person's a good guy.
Yeah.
So, on my playthrough, I told the truth, actually, so mine was the opposite. I was like, I don't know that... she should know that, / like, Chloe, or Rachel feels like Chloe's, like, the person she can trust and stuff. So for me, I was kind of like, well, I gotta tell you the truth then. That's how I kind of thought of it, but I definitely see why a lot of people wouldn't tell her the truth, though.
Yeah.
It makes sense, and, like...
Yeah.
Does she need to... She just got stabbed. Does she also need to find out that her dad's actually terrible?
Yeah, actually, potentially a murderer. Almost a murderer.
Right, and that her birth mom, with Sarah saying, don't tell. Like, that's... I get it. That's, like, a good body of evidence to not say.
It's pretty difficult. Because on one hand, you have in my mind, I would want to tell Rachel because I think she should know all of these things. But then the people that, like Sarah, who Rachel wants to meet her, but feels like it'd be bad for her.
Right.
It's like kind of difficult because the people that, I don't know, are I guess more authority figures think it's best that Sarah's not involved.
Mm-hmm.
This is just difficult. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a really hard one to make.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, I mean, James sucks, like, and he's potentially evil, like, on that side of the spectrum for sure.
Right.
But it's tough because everything he did was to protect Rachel. So it's kind of like, he's not good by any means, like, I would never touch that statement with a 10-foot pole. He sucks. Like,
right.
He really sucks. But he clearly cares about Rachel.
Right, bad guy for a good thing.
We'll go to any length to protect her. But I don't know, his idea of protection is kind of questionable. Yeah, I don't know. So I think it was difficult for me to make that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely tough.
Yep.
Chris on Twitter for this decision, he said, "Now this is a conversation starter."
Yep.
"I told her the truth at first, and I shall say what they made James do was an absolute insult, making him an anti-villain when his character was just beginning to redeem himself." So it seems like he kind of felt probably that Chloe conversation, like, oh, he's coming around, and then actually, never mind, look how bad he actually is.
He's worse than you thought.
Yeah, he's a lot worse. And
yeah,
I think that's also kind of unfortunate.
Yeah.
How they used his character in that way.
Yeah.
After this, you end up with kind of your final cutscene to end the game once you make your choice. And you see Frank at his RV, and he's pouring some of his 40 out for Damon.
My guy.
Yeah. So, R.I.P. Damon. I mean, maybe not rest in peace, you're an asshole, but you're dead.
Yeah, good. Bye-bye.
And Frank had like a shoebox of some like friendship stuff, so he put Damon's knife in there, and there's like a picture of them and stuff like that. So, Damon's a monster, but Frank was his friend, so that obviously would be hard to kill your friend.
Yep.
And maybe explain other problems Frank has later on.
Yep. Makes me understand him a lot more.
Yeah,
for
a little
sure.
more understandable. We see David proposing to Joyce. That seemed nice, especially after the last episode of David actually being okay. So that was kind of nice to see.
Yeah.
Rachel and Chloe, they get tattoos. They have photos at the photo booth. They're sitting by the lighthouse. This is a good thing. So when they sit by the lighthouse, if you give Sarah the bracelet like we did, but you also tell the truth, she shows up there.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and then she gives Rachel runs up and gives her a big hug and stuff like that. So.
Oh wow. We should have done that.
Yeah, if you do if you tell Rachel the truth, she like freaks out. The sound goes away, which is kind of cool, but the sound turns off, and then you see her just yell at her dad and crying, and you see Mr. Amber like drinking in his house alone, like things like that. But then if you got this, I hadn't actually seen the Sarah scene coming back though till looking around on YouTube, because I told the truth, but I didn't give the bracelet away.
Oh man, so it's just
so I still got like the positive stuff, but I didn't get Sarah coming back.
Okay.
I didn't give the bracelet away because I couldn't remember where it ended up, and so I was like, "Oh, are we going to lose it if I give it to Sarah?"
Yeah.
So, but obviously Rachel gets it back if in that situation. If Sarah has it, then she gets it back from her mom later on. Mm-hmm. And someday Frank ends up with it or whatever.
Yes, somehow.
I guess. Because ultimately it ends up back with Frank someday.
Which is weird.
So it must end up back to Rachel and then to Frank ultimately.
But I remember when we were playing this scene, Rachel has it on her arm.
Oh, later on.
At some point, like after we don't tell her.
Oh,
it's like, oh man, you guys kind of messed up on that.
Missed it.
Or it's a different one that looks similar. Don't know.
Yeah. So, I don't know. That was kind of interesting. It would be nice if they did see each other. I like that idea. Mm-hmm. But then the credits get ready to roll. And then you have a final scene. It's in the dark room. And you hear clicks. And then you see a phone on the table. And it's ringing. And it has 17 missed calls from Chloe. Boom. Done. And, of course, this scene is understandably super polarizing for people.
Yep.
Maybe two questions. First question. Do you think this is representative of Nathan in the dark room? Or is it Mr. Jefferson with Rachel?
I'd have to assume it's Nathan.
Okay.
because we know Mr. Apparently Rachel like willingly did that for Mr. Jefferson, right?
Right.
From what we know from the original game.
Right.
Or he was lying. Don't know, but I would assume he wasn't. So I have to assume 17 missed calls would be like, I don't know the time frame between those, but a couple hours probably. So there's no way you would just, I don't know, explain that away if you're Rachel. Like, oh yeah, sorry, I was really busy or something. So I have to assume it's probably Nathan, because I think what they're going for was like, Chloe never talks to her again. There's like all these missed calls. It could have been also a couple of days even, like.
Oh, that's true.
Who knows? Like maybe those are all over like 2 days or something.
Right.
So that's my assumption is it's probably Nathan.
Yeah,
she's dead.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's also correct. And that would make sense, it being more polarizing and hurtful. Because I was like, I don't know, I could see her blowing off Chloe and then doing this with Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't have the same gut punch. It's creepy, but this has the gut punch of like,
yeah.
Why'd you remind us she's fucking dead?
Yeah. Fuck you guys.
Yeah, fuck you guys. So, okay. That seems fair. So then the second question is this too much or not? Is this pushing the offensive, rubbing it in your face, or is it acceptable kind of gut punch? Because obviously this game is known for gut punches, and I would say most of them are acceptable probably, but I think there's probably ones that people would find unacceptable because they're unnecessarily harsh.
Yeah.
Or something like that. So, I'm not sure, for me, I guess, I'm not sure where I fall on it. I think I'm probably neutral, and I think that each person, what they would think, probably makes a lot of sense, because there's definitely parts of me that's like, oh, that's too much.
Yeah.
But then there's also parts of me that are kind of like, well, I kind of don't mind getting gut punches sometimes, so
yeah.
I think I kind of have both, to be honest.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think we're similar. I like the feel. Like, I like the feels, you know?
Right.
But this just seemed, I don't know if it was necessarily, like, too much, as in, like, man, they shouldn't have gone there. But it just seemed unnecessary. It's like, okay, we know, we get it. Like,
right, we know it.
Rachel's gone. She's dead. But it just seems to me like, so let's say you're playing this game before Life is Strange. You have no idea what, like, okay, wow, so she missed a bunch of calls. Like, what's going on? You have no concept for it.
Right. It doesn't mean anything.
It's almost like just like a, I don't know, low blow to people that have played the original game and know what this is about. It just seems unnecessary. Like, okay, we know Rachel goes missing.
Right.
Let's just enjoy her and Chloe being friends until we know in a couple of years she's dead. Like,
yeah.
so it just seems unnecessary to me. Like, I understand the point of it, and it's just kind of, oh, here's some negative emotions. Be depressed for a while.
Yeah. No. I think that makes sense. Is the unnecessary, because it does seem like even in this episode, Rachel's gone through enough. Whether you tell her the truth or not, she at least got stabbed and is having other issues. But even if she finds out the truth, like, she's gone through enough, but it still lets you kind of ride a Rachel and Chloe happiness until the next game, and that's probably good, and should be, maybe is okay, and maybe is even good, and maybe we didn't need this.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that should be the focus of the end of the game. It's like, okay, they're friends, they're happy right now, because so much of it too, like Chloe's last journal entry of like saying goodbye to Max, like putting that behind her, moving forward with Rachel. It almost seemed like the idea, it's like it should have been redeeming almost.
Right.
And like there's hope for the future, which we know the future's not that long, but there's still like some cool things going on. And they kind of just took all that away. Yeah. So I was like, probably shouldn't have done it, but I can see why they would do it, because they got to hit you with one last like, things aren't happy. Right.
Give you a last boom.
Yep.
Yeah. We asked people on Twitter what they thought about it, and we had some varying responses. So Epic Glitter on Twitter had said it was too much, unnecessary, cruel, to be honest, and irresponsible after marketing towards young queer gamers. I love Before the Storm despite its flaw, but I wish they'd cut this post-credit scene. That's definitely a thing, is that this game definitely seemed much more marketed towards queer gamers than the original Life is Strange. That one, it seemed a little more optional, whereas this one, it definitely wanted you to have a relationship with Rachel. Like, it pushed it. Like, we did sort of, but not as much. I mean, we got friend zoned. We couldn't kiss her. Yeah. But we had like some nice moments. But it's definitely set up where you can do that a lot easier, and like it's much more of like, oh, I like you, I want to date you, and like the beginning of Chloe and Rachel dating.
Yeah.
You could definitely play it that way, and to set it up for that, and then on the other side, like, by the way, she's dead, and that there's this trope in TV and video games, I think mostly TV, but it's called bury your gays, and so the idea is that all gay stories are also tragedies, and that someone will die at the end. And so this being like, by the way, she's dead, like...
Yeah.
And I was talking to Epic Glitter a little later on this. I didn't put it on here, but I was asking, like, do you think that there's an acceptable way to remind of the first game as to what happens or whatever like that? And the thing they brought up that I had forgotten about, but I think in episode 1, Rachel says, don't be surprised if I'm just gone someday, you know? And so it's like, they're giving little hints even that it could happen without having to do this post-credit scene. And so
yeah,
I thought those made a lot of sense, and I don't know, probably shifted me a little more towards that side than being neutral, or like what you said, unnecessary.
Yeah, yeah, it just seemed like it didn't have to be there, basically.
Right.
Yeah. Next we got Chris on Twitter. Says, hard kick to the emotional nutsack. I dropped both my controller and my jaw when they hit me with that. Like, I think we were similar. I was like, what? Well, I guess you'd already seen it, but I was like, what the fuck? I can't believe they did that. This was so messed up.
Yeah, I felt that, yeah, same thing.
I just wanted to be happy, because it seemed like it kind of ended on, like, a positive note. Then all the win from the sales was gone. It's just like, nope, she's dead.
Right.
Don't forget.
Right, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, sucks.
Yeah, yeah. After getting a nice montage of them, and then you have that.
Yeah.
Boom. Archie on Twitter says, huge WTF when I thought everything was fine. Yeah.
Yep.
It seemed nice, and then it wasn't.
Tien on Twitter. I wouldn't say it was necessary, but just a reminder of the darkness I tend to enjoy about the series, as twisted as it might be to say that. I mean, yeah, I do like some of the darkness, like the feels of, like, they just do a good job of, like, making it kind of like real life. Like, things don't just end happy because we want them to or something.
Right.
But this, I don't know, man. It just, yeah, there's darkness there, but it just seemed like the game was on this trajectory of, like, happy, good, they're friends, and then they were just like, psych. It just seemed out of, like, left field. Whereas other points in the game where things get dark or like sad or emotional, it almost builds up to it. This was just out of nowhere. It really makes sense to me.
Yeah, right. It seemed like it was more just to give you that pain at the end. Because I was thinking, like, what are comparable, like, traumatic events or whatever in the previous game? So, obviously, lots of spoilers right here, specifically. But being able to save Kate or not, that's huge. And obviously, that's traumatic because people really do that. Like, and I felt pretty sad when I couldn't save her, but I didn't feel manipulated. Like, it was part of the story.
Yeah, and then build up to, like, oh, man, if we don't get this right, she's going to jump off the roof.
Right.
And we didn't get it right.
And she did.
Yeah, it sucked.
Yeah, and that was awful. Or Max being trapped in the dark room. Again, that's, like, super traumatic. But it felt earned. It didn't feel cheap.
Yeah, or, like, finding Rachel in the ground. Like, there's some build up to that. Like, we knew it was moving towards that.
Right, and they earned each of them. They were still traumatic, but they were earned. They fit. Whereas this was just kind of a, like, maybe a mean jab at the end kind of thing. So yeah, I guess heading to some general thoughts on the episode. For me, I think this is probably my least favorite Life is Strange episode out of any of them. And that's not to say it's bad. Like, I think that it's actually up against a lot of good competition. Yeah, I thought the two episodes before this and Before the Storm were really good. But then I personally liked all of the first game's episodes. I thought they were all really good and really just loved that season in general. So I think this one was probably the worst. Specifically, I didn't really like the Damon, Mr. Amber, Sarah storylines. I think they got, like, too crazy too fast. Like, if all this stuff was going to happen, I think you needed maybe a couple more episodes to do it. Or if it was going to be this, like, I kind of think that you could have taken Damon or Sarah out of the game entirely. It probably would have been a better game and story. Yeah. If you would have just removed one of them. So if James just was making Sarah not be able to see Rachel, and that's the adversary the whole time, and so Mr. Amber's the bad guy, that's fine. We could roll with that. Or if Sarah doesn't exist at all, but then Rachel gets into a scuffle with Damon because Damon is trying to go after the DA because he's drugs guy.
Yeah.
You could probably make a good story of that too. This one, it just felt like it was like, we've got 4 ideas, so let's just do them all.
Yeah.
And then it was like, what the fuck is going on? So
Yep.
I think that they kind of missed on the story stuff specifically in this episode.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That said, like, there were things I liked in it. I liked this choice of having to tell Rachel the truth or not. I thought that was a pretty good choice.
Mm-hmm.
And it was challenging. I liked the beginning of the episode especially.
Mm-hmm.
So, not like a bad episode or something, but I think it's my least favorite one.
Yeah, which is, fair. There has to be a least favorite one.
Yeah, right.
They all can't be 100% good.
Right. An episode has to get last place, and it's probably this one.
Yeah. Yeah, and that actually hits up on 2 of my thoughts. So I guess in response to having Chloe make a choice at the end, I liked how in the first game, it's a huge spoiler, we basically have to choose to like sacrifice Chloe for the town or sacrifice the town for Chloe.
Right.
So it was not as epic of a decision with like as far-reaching consequences. It's still really big for Rachel and Chloe's friendship, and as we've seen, Rachel and Chloe mean like the world to each other. So basically, it would have been potentially earth-shattering for Chloe if she like made the wrong decision in her mind or something. So I like that there was this gigantic decision to kind of wrap up Chloe and Rachel's, not wrap it up, but head towards the future of their friendship. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I did enjoy that they used all this to make that decision.
Yeah, I felt like, I guess commenting on that too, is I feel like by getting to this point now and experiencing Rachel, you can see why Chloe wants to find her so bad. Like, as we've talked about in other episodes, we've seen all these things about Rachel, but especially even in the ending montage, and you see these nice moments that they're having, they got tattoos together, they do these things, it's like, they're really close. And like, when we meet Chloe in the first game, Rachel's been gone for 6 months, but she's still putting up posters, she's still looking for her, she hasn't given up. It makes sense. You like get it a bit more, even though this is just the beginning of their friendship too. Like,
like a weekend or 2 weeks or not how long it was.
Yeah, so I agree though. I really like that lens into their friendship.
Yeah, they Chloe clearly needed Rachel, and probably vice versa. And then I guess the other point, about the Damon and Mr. Amber stuff. The vibe I got was like it was supposed to be it was a really big part of the story, but it never really felt like it was until the last 10 minutes of the game. Or there's various other points where like, oh, Mr. Amber is kind of mean, or oh, we found out he's like paying Damon to kill Sarah. Like they weren't like big characters, except for like various 10-minute sequences. So it didn't really feel to me like if they added another episode maybe to build up Damon as like this bad guy or talk about him more, or like delve more into like, I don't know, what Mr. Amber does, or I don't know, interactions with him or something, it might have been more impactful. It was almost like, okay, the end, we have to have Chloe make a decision about something to do with her mom, with Rachel's mom. Let's use these 2 guys to make it happen. So they almost started from the end and went towards the middle of episode 2. Like it just felt kind of forced.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah, I think so. Well, and with like Damon, he wasn't. I think you saw him in episode 1, but like he was at that mill party.
Maybe.
At the concert, I think he was there, but you didn't talk to him.
He might have been in the picture actually. Yeah,
maybe it was that, but he's barely involved. And then the other one, we hear him beat up Drew, but we don't really interact with him.
Yeah.
There either, and then it's like surprise villain, but not in a like hidden in plain sight like Mr. Jefferson.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead, it's like, here's this guy who wasn't really in the game.
But now he's like the arch nemesis.
Yeah, but then is James Amber maybe really the arch nemesis even more, and Damon's almost a guy that like is an accessory to him.
He's
but
like
then,
puppet.
Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't really like all that. I think also actually another problem in this is that James Amber's the DA, but like you couldn't find your kid. Like your job is to find missing, like part of your job is to find missing people and stuff like that. Like, and you're like, I mean, it could have broke him and like all those things, and maybe they just moved away once Rachel was gone too long, or whatever.
That should be pretty fucked up.
Like, because if he was gone long enough, then she's obviously not coming back, or whatever. But his profession almost seems weird for her to be missing and not found. Almost like,
yeah, that's a good point.
Should his profession, like, even if he was just a lawyer or like something like that, like, he could still be powerful, but being DA seems Yeah, I think that kind of combo of Sarah, Mr. Amber as the DA, and Damon, the drug dealer, I think they need to remove part of that. Mm-hmm. And then I think it would have been much smoother.
Yeah, and the thing that I thought was another maybe a weird factor in this whole, like, Sarah and not being able to see Rachel, she could have just gone to school, you know? Like, she didn't need Mr. Amber's permission. She could have just done it. You know, and I know that he was paying her not to, but then she stopped receiving the checks and stuff.
Right.
And clearly, Mr. Amber wasn't in total legal bounds to, like, keep her from doing that because he tried to have her killed. So clearly there was, like, something at play here where she could have actually seen Rachel if she wanted to. So part of that I was kind of confused by, too, was, like, I mean, Sarah could have found Rachel without going through Mr. Amber or James or whatever.
Right, and there was that note from the lawyer saying Mr. Amber can't do that. Yeah,
exactly. So it's like,
yeah, I kind of think they could have solved this a little better. Like,
yeah, it just feels forced. I think. I mean, and it's I love this game, and
right.
I mean, these are complaints, I guess, but like, still loved it. So I wouldn't like deter people from playing it or anything. But there's just some like plot points. It was like, he probably could have done something different in hindsight.
I think it feels like a harder fall too because episode 1 and 2 were really good. Like, I kind of expected with a prequel by Deck 9 instead of being by Don't Nod, like, not the original creators, I was like, is this going to be good anyway? How far will the drop-off be? You know, any of that kind of stuff. My expectations were kind of lower going in. But then the first 2 episodes were really good. I mean, probably as good as any of the other ones, if not better, than the main Life is Strange game episodes. You know, like, really high quality. And so I think when this one, like, fell harder, I think it made the fall feel a lot worse kind of thing. Because the other 2 just had so many good things in them. So I think that probably hurts it too.
For sure. And I guess another thought to tack onto this. I guess generally Life is Strange, the original game, felt like really smooth. Like it transitioned into like storylines and characters really well. And like I was never... well, I guess I was pretty shocked by Mr. Jefferson being like the bad guy. But there was always like small little hints at like... oh, he's evil or does this kind of weird stuff. Like when you play as Max going like back in time in his class again, he's like saying all these weird things about being in a dark corner and stuff. It's like, okay, yeah, I should have picked up on that. But this game felt more like, I think, less fluid and more like, here's what we're trying to get, and then kind of throwing things in. Like even with like Elliot, seemed pretty normal in the first 2 episodes. Like he would text Chloe and we'd kind of respond. He seemed like into her. It was like, okay, whatever. Then at the hospital, he was kind of weird. And then all of a sudden, at the Amber's house, he was just full-on creeper.
Right.
And that seemed really abrupt to me. And I didn't really see the point of it. It seemed kind of, I don't know, I guess unnecessary. Or just kind of thrown in to make the episode longer, potentially. Don't know.
Yeah.
But it's kind of weird.
No, that's true. The first 2, he just kind of seemed like any other side character almost, except like he liked Chloe and wished he liked her back, basically. And then in the hospital, he gets, you raise eyebrows and it's weird. Yeah. But then like 15 minutes later, he's full crazy. Yeah. And you're like, that
what has happened?
Yeah, that seemed big too. So I agree with that. So I don't know. If I could redo this episode, I would want to. Like if they could change it or whatever, that'd probably be a good way to wrap this up better. But it is what it is, I guess.
Yep.
David, I thought, got to swing back to being a decent guy here in this episode. So he apologized to Chloe in this episode for the emptying of the pockets. And he tells her about his friend who died in the war and like gives her the picture and stuff like that. And it again like rehumanized him. And I thought that, you know, through obviously this whole game, we've really gone back and forth with him.
Oh, yeah.
From Life is Strange episode 1, really, but then even through Before the Storm, we keep seeing like, okay, he's kind of cool. Oh, he's terrible. Oh, he did this awful thing. Oh, he did an alright thing, a good thing, and all that. And I maybe even retrospectively thinking on this, I guess you could see how Joyce would like keep staying with him.
Yeah.
Because like when he's good, he seems all right, and like he's probably more good to her anyway, because you know they're married now or whatever. But like, and he seems to really care about her, even though he's an idiot sometimes and all that. But you know, it probably would almost be what it would be like to live with him. Probably he's all right sometimes, and then he's probably pretty awful other times.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It was nice to see him swing back though, just because when he's all right, he's a good ally.
For sure.
When he sucks, he sucks.
Yeah, and I have something that, like when we were in that sequence where he was like showing us the picture and apologizing, the options for dialogue weren't that great as Chloe, which I'm not, like, makes sense. Like, he's been a douche to her, so like it'd be hard just for her to, like, you know, snap the fingers, oh, I like you now. But at the same time, I mean, I have to imagine Chloe didn't make it any easier for him to, like, continue to be a nice guy. Kind of her fault, kind of his fault. So you can kind of see why he'd maybe go back and forth. Like, he's trying to be nice for a while, and then Chloe's like, no, I still don't like you. And then he hits a wall, and he's like, no, fuck this. So it kind of makes sense. But at the same time, sometimes he's, excessively an asshole.
Right.
Like when he smacks Chloe in the Life is Strange, like,
yeah,
all right, dude, no, you're...
Yeah, that was wrong.
Nothing could ever warrant that, like, ever. So, yeah, I could kind of see why he goes back and forth. But yeah, they kind of left you on, like, a positive note with him.
Yeah.
Which is quickly dashed in Life is Strange.
Yeah.
The real game. But, you know, he's cool.
Also, I thought that the couple dream sequences you got with William were pretty rough in this. You had one where you're, like, on the stage at the play, wherever, and he's, like, pretending to drive, essentially. And a truck just runs him over.
Yeah, and there's blood on the stage.
Yeah. Oh, man.
It's pretty rough.
And then later you, like, try to talk to him to find out if he ever, like, lied to you, essentially.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. They were hard, just these... You just felt Chloe's trauma a lot in this. I don't know if they're, like, real dreams or what they actually represent. It seems like they minimally represent thought, if not, like, dreams, nightmares, or whatever she'd have, or... I don't know, visions or something, but wherever they are, they're awful, and you definitely see how Chloe would, I don't know, be going through a lot of hard stuff with this. It made you sad, and see William more. I mean, even though it's a dream, so I don't know if it counts, but, like, just because he seems like he was, like, a good dad, and Chloe's life would have been pretty alright.
Well.
Before all this bad stuff happened, you know, like...
Maybe.
So...
Unless she's paralyzed somehow.
Yeah. Or back in the day, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, like, so, I don't know. That's hard.
Yeah, and I think it makes it super hard, too, because she's seeing, like, Rachel interact with her dad, and how, like, he can be just really shitty, and is just a shitty person. So I think it brings up a lot of stuff, like, fear she had about, like, you know, were you lying to me, William? And just kind of reminiscing probably more about their time together. So yeah, it's got to be pretty hard for her to be in that spot, and then seeing Rachel hurt, and then like, oh, my dad's gone too, and fuck.
Yeah.
All dads suck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess, yeah, my last thought on this was, I think, well, we were texting today, and you sent me the the text of the or the video of, you know, when Max and Chloe find Rachel in the junkyard dead, and it is objectively way worse to watch after you played this game, because you've seen how much Chloe likes Rachel, you see why she likes Rachel so much, you see all the good times they have, kind of, and then she's just dead. You're like, oh man, this sucks.
Yeah.
'Cause before that, you're like, okay, yeah, they were close, but now Max is back. You should be fine, Chloe, whatever. But it's not the case.
Yeah, no, it hurts way more. Because before you were like sad that Chloe's friend is gone, but you don't know her. You have a missing poster.
Yeah.
But that's about as much as you know, and then you know a couple things that Rachel says, like she was the best, and you know, like things like that.
Yeah.
But now that you know Rachel and you watch it again, oh god, it hurts. It's so awful.
Yeah, it sucks.
It hurts like all the feels, for sure.
It's like, it's for sure bad before. Like, they really hit you. They make you feel like really sad, depressed, whatever, and like not a bad way. But then this is like times 10, 100%. It's way harder. Yeah. Once you know Rachel, way harder. And so I guess in that regard, probably good job on both games. Yeah.
Good job for the original Life is Strange. You wrote a good scene, and then, you know, it was great then. But then good job Before the Storm that you made Rachel such a character that you could care about. Yeah. When you have this happen.
Yep.
Oh, it hurts.
Yep.
Because I know you and I've spent all this time with you.
Yep.
So, yeah, I guess we got a couple other thoughts from some people just about this episode at large. Epic Glitter on Twitter said, first, the good stuff. I like the stars scene in the bedroom. Loved when Chloe finished rebuilding her truck and looked in the mirror and felt genuinely happy.
Mm-hmm.
Like that Before the Storm showed her resourcefulness and resilient side. I like D&D, the patient board in Mikey's room, and the pre-credits montage. Yeah, all good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But sending Rachel to the hospital early in the episode was a mistake. Best parts of Before the Storm are Rachel and Chloe moments. Feels side character and Raven content was cut. Feels holiday rushed, because this came out like 5 days before Christmas last year.
Yeah.
So she might be right. They might be right. Damon was a boring villain, and Sarah's change of heart was confusing. Stopped wanting to meet Rachel.
Yep.
I guess first, I really agree with all the positive stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I felt those things and thought they were pretty on. And then on the criticism, yeah, cutting Rachel out early, I didn't think about that. But
that's kind of weird.
And that she's been so important in this, but then really Rachel's sidelined for probably like half the episode, if not more. Because like we're with her in the bedroom with the stars, that's great. We go to the junkyard, she gets stabbed. Then she's not really in the episode the rest of the time after that. Like we're doing things on behalf of her, but she's not really in it. And I don't know, Chloe and Rachel moments is probably where this game is at the best.
Yep.
Like the play, or even like sneaking off in the park, or burning the forest down.
Yep.
Those were all really good moments, but it was both of them together. So I think that they're probably right about that.
Yep, I'd agree. And yeah, Sarah's change of heart was kind of weird. So up until she was kidnapped, she was gung-ho. I gotta meet Rachel. I don't really know what changed her mind. Maybe because she took heroin again? Maybe. And just wanted to keep using it? That could have been it. But other than that, I have no idea.
Yeah, I guess if she relapsed, that could maybe make sense. Like, because of Damon doing it to her?
So she wanted to keep doing it?
Yeah, that could make sense.
Yeah. Yeah,
it seems like you would... Maybe she didn't think James would ever be this bad, and so then that he was, that, like, well, I'm not really your parent, and your mom's not really your parent because you know now.
Mm-hmm.
So if he's not really either, like, maybe that's so bad. But, yeah, I agree. I didn't really like that change of heart, though.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yep. We got, what was that? Heathboat on Twitter. I personally thought Hell is Empty started out okay, but the Sarah story in the bedroom scene, then just lost the plot. It did not do justice to what had been set up in the first 2 episodes. The only moment that I thought was interesting was the dream sequence on the stage. Yeah. But, like with William getting hit by the truck again. But, yeah, I kind of feel the same. Yeah, once, I guess combining this and Epic Glitter's thoughts, like, yeah, once Rachel got sidelined, it was kind of, it wasn't bad by any means, but it kind of lost some of, like, the charm and the appeal, you know, with seeing Chloe and Rachel together.
Yeah.
It kind of became confusing moments, or not confusing, difficult moments to, like, I don't know, that fit in the story to get to the point where Chloe had to make a big decision. That seemed kind of like what it was, to me at least.
Yeah, I just thought of this right now. I wonder if this would have worked. I don't know what the investigation would be, but what if instead of all these things that happened, what if Chloe ends up in the hospital for some reason, and then you have to play as Rachel and go do something for Chloe, but then none of the Sarah, Damon bullshit's going on? Because, I mean, you would miss Chloe, but it would be interesting to have to play as Rachel for a little while, like, to solve something for Chloe.
Yeah.
I wonder if that could be interesting. I mean, I guess ultimately it's just that Damon, Mr. Amber, and Sarah didn't really work, and so that's the problem, and, you know, if you can solve that with them, but I'm just wondering that, because now we've gotten to play, obviously, as Max and Chloe. If we did get to play as Rachel in some manner, this would have been kind of an interesting way to do it.
Yeah.
Is if Chloe was sidelined, what if Chloe got hit by a car or something? And so then...
Just like William.
Oh, yeah, I guess we can't do that.
Yeah.
I was thinking walking, but... And then, you know, Rachel has to go buy her ice cream or something. I don't know. You could come up with something better than that.
Yeah.
Sneak a joint into the hospital.
Most things would be better than that.
Yeah, most things
no
would
offense.
be better. No, it would. Sneak a joint into the hospital. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something that Chloe would want to, like, solve a problem. But you could... I don't know. That could be kind of interesting if you got to be Rachel for a while in an adventure. But, yeah, I don't know. Didn't quite work, obviously.
Yeah.
Last, Chris on Twitter says, not as terrible as Polarized. That's episode 5 of Life is Strange, the original, but nowhere near as spectacular as Brave New World, episode 2 of Before the Storm. Like in Life is Strange season 1's finale, it lacks any likable moments other than the D&D game in the hospital, a forced murder plot with James, and an underwhelming face-off with Damon Merrick. Yeah,
I disagree. Yeah,
definitely. It seems like the criticisms we had, a lot of other people did too.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, for Before the Storm overall, really fun prequel. This episode, not so much, but it was okay.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, but I definitely think that overall, like, Life is Strange, the original game, was just, I think, superior. Even the last final episode with all the climax heading to Mr. Jefferson being the bad guy and like what he was doing, I think was just a lot better, and it built up to it a lot better too.
Yeah, agreed. I like Before the Storm because I like the original game.
Yeah.
Because I got to add more, but the original, Before the Storm is good as a game in itself, but
Mm-hmm.
the original game just also, like, I'm glad this game didn't have any superpowers in it. Like, Arcadia Bay shouldn't have more superpower people.
Yeah.
So I'm glad they didn't do that, but that's definitely an appeal in the main game. You have this superpower thing going on, then you have this awesome story, you have this cool relationship, you have this murder mystery, like, you have so many cool things going on all at once.
Mm-hmm.
Fun interactions to have, like, I don't know. That game just, I don't know, for me set, like, a real bar in this type of game. And so, like, Before the Storm would have to hit, like, all home runs, and then it would probably equal up for me.
Yeah,
like,
that's fair.
It probably has an unfair bar in some sense. So, but yeah, good game though.
Yeah, I liked it. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess next time we're gonna do Captain Spirit. It's Don't Nod's new. It's like probably one episode, a couple hour, free to play game. It's similar in like style of gameplay as Life is Strange, so it's choice based, story driven. Don't know a whole lot about it. You play as like a kid who goes on like adventures in his imagination, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and maybe has superpowers.
Maybe.
I don't know. It's hard to. The trailer. Yeah, trailer. Who knows? Apparently, also it's set a couple years after Life is Strange, the original game. And apparently there's going to be links between Life is Strange, the original, and how your choices in that game, I guess, somehow impact this game some, and then your choices in this game also somehow impact Life is Strange 2.
Interesting.
That's coming out in September. So
awesome.
Yeah, so it seems like it's like a nice, fun little link in between. Who knows what it means or how it will exactly go, but it's coming out free. This will get put out on Tuesday, so today it's out right now. I guess when you're listening to this, probably. So, but yeah, it's free on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. So go get it for sure. And then also once after that, the next time we'll do Farewell, the bonus episode for Before the Storm, and then we'll probably do some non-Life is Strange stuff for a little bit. But then with season 2 coming out, we'll be back on it.
We'll be right back on it.
So that's kind of our plan. But yeah, I guess we'll see you next time.
Later.